Okay, like I said, we're going to create some user interface. So I would want us to see if we can use Tailwind CSS for our user interface. Okay, I'm not connected. Okay, so we're going to look into the Tailwind CSS. It's a relatively new CSS framework. Okay, so we're also going to use the npm install to install it in our application. So we simply come here to our application, this application where we left off. So I'll open my terminal and I'll simply run npm install Tailwind CSS. Okay. What I'll do first, I think I'll try to create a JSON package. Let's just go ahead, install it first. Okay. So if we are to install this, we're going to change our application structure because we'll need to build CSS. Okay. So what I'll do here now is I'll create a new folder, call it source. Then I'll also create another folder, I'll call it public. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll move my JS folder into the public. Then I'll create a new folder within it and I call it CSS. Okay, so within here, I'm going to have my custom JS inside this, as well as a new file. I'll call it Tailwind CSS, where I'll compile the CSS for the front end. Then within this source, this is where I want to have Tailwind CSS, let's say raw. Okay, dot CSS. Okay, I think we can just call it Tailwind underscore source dot CSS. Okay, so when we have this, our npm has completed the installation for Tailwind. So what we need to do is we'll copy this. If this is just a directive to inject Tailwind, okay, the basic component and the utility star into your CSS. So we'll need them. Okay, so we'll come to the source, just paste them there. Okay, so this will automatically generate your CSS here in this empty CSS file. Okay, so what we need to do now is to create a package.json file. So we'll say npm initialize with a y flag, and this will automatically create a package.json file for us. Okay, we have a name already and some of the information that we've gotten from the readme file. Okay, except name, like the description is gotten from the readme file. So what we're going to do now is we'll create a build. Okay, but before that, I think what we can still do, we can still create uh, a configuration file in case we want to do some optional configuration. So by simply running this command. So we'll run this command as well, npx tailwind css init. So this will give us, will generate a configuration file for us here, so that in case we want to do optional configurations, we can do that here. So we'll go ahead to create a build. So on the script aspect, on the script part of your package or JSON, you can simply put something like build colon tailwind. Okay, so here we are going to write some functions like how the building is going to look like based on this okay, that is the compilation. Okay, tailwind build the style.css, this is the source, while this will be the output. Okay, so we use this to compile the CSS that's processed it and get it into this empty CSS file. Okay, so we'll simply do just from what we saw, tailwind build, then our source and the output, we indicate our output there. So say tailwind build, then our source file is here, which is source slash tailwind underscore source.css. So our source slash tailwind underscore source dot css, css. Okay, then our output will now be to the public folder slash css slash tailwind dot css. Okay, so if we've done this, we'll simply save the JSON file. I will save the JSON file. We just come here and run this command. Okay, so run this command. So simply say npm run this command, that's build tailwind. Okay, so when we do this, it will automatically compile. Okay, we have an error here, and the error says tailwind source css does not exist. Okay, we have an error here, so it's supposed to be tailwind source. Okay, let's try compile again. So we'll simply just compile again and see, and there we have it, compilation successful. So if we come to your Tailwind CSS, you can see that the whole style sheet has been generated from just these 3 lines of code. Okay, so we generated the style sheet for you. So what we just need to do is, this is what we'll now connect to our front end and we'll use for developing. Okay, so I'm going to test this by writing some few classes. That means we're going to restructure our HTML. Okay, so come to our HTML document, and I'll just come to the top here, and I'll simply write some okay, let's say link up my CSS. Okay, so it will now be to the public folder /css/tailwind CSS. Okay, so I'll get rid of everything here on the page, and you know our custom now will not just be through JS but through public folder. Okay, so with this we can simply just create a little, let's say, a div here and say create a h3, and we say we are still testing. Okay, so with this we'll simply just refresh our page, and you'll see we are still testing here. So in the next clip we're going to test some little styling from the Tailwind CSS that by adding some few classes, and we're going to build a very beautiful user interface if we can. Okay, so thank you for watching this.